Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, aka Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming in Miniature video. In today's video, we are going to continue on with our store news update. Basically, what we do in the store news updates is I let you know things that revolve around my eBay store, like what I'm working on, what I've completed, what kind of new product we got in, and if we got in any new supplies like paint or brushes or anything like that. Okay, in this last week, I didn't get any supplies in, so we'll just knock that out and say no supplies. I did get it, but I do have some supplies on order, waiting for them to come in. That's for a future video. All right, so we did get some product in, and I also got some product in, I think last week, that I didn't mention, which it was just an oversight on my part. But I'm going to clump them all together so you're aware of some new product. Okay, so I did get some Old Glory in. Old Glory also sells the West Wind Berlin or Bust series. That's 25 millimeter, 28 millimeter World War II figures. I got some USA mortars and some German SS mortars. So I got those in. But in addition to those, I also got in some Old Glory Napoleonics. Now, I can't remember what these boxes stand... Now, these are considered boxed sets, right? They just don't provide a box. It even says box 13. Box 11. Okay, but this is French. I do believe that's what the F stands for. And if I look at the models, they look like French. And they're beautiful models. So I'll be putting those together soon. And then I also got some more British. These guys look... Okay, it looks like the Belgique Shako. So I'm going to say probably... late war. And then I got a couple of AX1s. I got the 10 and the 11. Now I think these are Austrians. Yep, they got that Austrian Grenadier style helmet. You know, the helmet with the plume that goes from back to front. That's what those guys have. And these are Austrians with Shakos. Yeah, these are Shakos. So I got some Shakos, and I got some helmets, which I'm probably going to paint as Hungarians, I think. And then some British and some French. Now, each of these packs usually have about 30 plus miniatures in them. So it's not enough to do 2 battalions. But it is enough to do like a battalion and a half. So, but I'll probably just do 1 battalion of each and save the figures in case I get another pack down the road, and then I can combine them and make maybe 2 battalions or something. We'll do an open box on these, and we'll count the figures and see exactly what we can get out of them. In addition to that, I got a fairly decent Flames of War order in. But more importantly, I did get a Crusader AA troop for my personal collection. And I did do a what's in the box. I don't know. I don't think it's uploaded yet, but I have already recorded it. I also got in a fairly sizable Plastic Soldier Company order. And talking about the Plastic Soldier Company, this is a store video. This is store news. And I like to share any in the inner workings of our store here, so that you can kind of just get a grasp of some of the things that we have to go through here. But as you know, last month I put an order in for Plastic Soldier. I got it in, and I noticed there was a missing box or 2. I don't remember which 2 boxes. I think it was Grenadiers, German Grenadiers, I think. Just going off memory. So I contacted my rep over at Plastic Soldier Company, and they said no problem, we'll go ahead and adjust your invoice. Okay, so they fixed the invoice. And looking back on it now, after the second order, I'm wondering if that invoice shipping was adjusted, because they charge shipping based on how many items are in the order. So if there's missing items, you would think that the shipping has to be adjusted. But maybe they're just charging me what actual shipping is based on weight. I don't know. But either way, they adjusted the invoice, and when I went to make the payment, it would not go through because the invoice they sent me was the original price, and then they adjusted the price. So when I click on the original invoice, it says that it's no longer valid. Okay, great. I contact them. So there's a whole rigmarole that went through this plastic soldier. They said, okay, we'll send you a new invoice, and they did with the updated price, but it was not a new invoice. It was the same invoice, and it was edited because the invoice numbers were the same. So I tried clicking on that, and it said it's the same exact result. It said that you're having an issue connecting to the payment system because of issues or problems or whatever they were having. So I waited a couple of days. I tried it again. I cleared all my cache and cookies thinking it was something on my end. I even took the error message that popped up and I put it into a search, and it came up saying that it was the server that I was trying to connect to was having an issue. So I believe it had something to do with them changing the invoice. Because when I first clicked on the payment, when I first got the invoice, everything was going through just fine. And then I realized that I was paying for something I wasn't getting. So I decided to back out of that a little bit. And then when I went back into it, it wouldn't let me in. So they created this new, or they gave me an alternative way to pay, which I thought was fine. I clicked that, made the payment. Everything was good. Got a receipt. Everything was fine. And then a month later, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to put in another order for Plastic Soldier because it's selling really well and I need to restock and replenish some missing pieces. So I put an order in, and it takes a long time. Well, let me back up. They sent me an email saying, we can't send it because you haven't paid for the previous invoice, which is true. But I did make a payment, and I did pay the company, and I had the receipt for it. So I sent them my bank statement, and they said that's not how we normally pay bills. And I basically had to go through the whole thing. I had to relive the whole thing again, type it all up, let them know, hey, we had a problem last month. You gave me this alternative way to pay. Here's the receipt. And they were like, oh, there it is. Thank you for sending the receipt, which maybe they have a couple of people working in finance, or and maybe one didn't tell the other what was going on. That's kind of what I'm getting. Or they just forgot because they probably do a ton of business with other companies and I'm just a drop in the bucket. So they got it corrected. They said, okay, we'll send your order out. So they send my order out. I get it, but I get it like way late because normally it takes like 2 or 3 days for me to get a shipment in, believe it or not, because they send it like express. It took over 2 weeks for me to get it. And part of that was it was held in customs for a little while. And then when it finally left customs, it didn't get to me for forever. So basically it was over a half of a month. So I got it in. I opened up the box. Everything's in there. Everything that I ordered was in there except for I ordered 3 companies of British infantry, and there was only one, right? Which I just finished uploading the British infantry what's in the bag video, so you can check that out. But I should have had 2 additional companies that I could have sold, because I'm planning on keeping, I ordered 3 because I was planning on keeping 1 for myself. Well, I still am, but I'm missing the 2 for the store. So I'm a little verklempt, or a little bit upset about that. Okay, and so, I don't know if that word was correct. So I'm still waiting back to see if they're going to correct the invoice, or if they want me to just to pay it and then put a credit on my account, which I'm okay with that too. It's just that as long as it gets taken care of, as long as they understand that I'm missing 2 British companies, everything's fine. And I got some product in from them that I hadn't had in the past. Like I ordered some stowage and tank commanders. That's what's in this hand here. I also ordered some Fallschirmjägers, companies and heavy weapons. And I think I got some early war. I also got the Martyr box in. So I got quite a few from Plastic Soldier. Most of it, and a lot of the books I'm replenishing. Yeah, you should check out my store soon. They will be going up on the store soon. Now, I also ordered a Sarissa order, which I did get in, and these are all 15 millimeter buildings for my World War II. What do they call it? World War Europe. Okay, well, this is a terrace house, and I have like 100 of these already. Yeah, I've got a bunch of these, and I love the smell of laser cut wood. This is another copy of that. There's 2. And there's 3. Okay, so I ordered a bunch of terrace houses. Like I said, I have to be honest, I think I've got 8. I think I have 8 of these already. So this is just going to put me up to 11, right? And they're in different variations because of the way you can switch the doors and the windows out and things like that. You can actually make a variety of different variations. But I also ordered a small shop, which I think I have 2 of these already. So basically I'm just increasing the number of buildings, because I found that there are, and this is being very, what's the word I'm looking for? This is being very willing to adapt to pre-printed scenarios. There are scenarios in the book that show, this many buildings, or this many, on the battlefield, over here on the left, over here on the right. And I was realizing that a couple of the scenarios, some of the, especially the big scenarios, have some big towns, almost cities, right? And so they've got like 20 buildings in them or whatever. And I think I can field like 12. So what I was trying to do was build up my collection of buildings in 15 millimeter, so that if we ever were to play those scenarios, I would have enough buildings. So after these, which I already have, this is like another 1/3 increase. So if I had 8, now I've got 12, kind of deal. But I think I'm closer to maybe, because I also have a couple of other brands. I've got TT Combat, and I also have a homemade church. I do have that. But if I was to count, I probably have about 13 buildings up there in total. And so this is going to put me at like 17. And then I have these 2 additional buildings here. So what is that? 19. I've got a corner house for the terrace. So if I was doing like a street intersection, this would be at the corner, and then I could attach these terrace houses to the left and right of it, like a row house, which would be great for like Nijmegen or any of the Belgian cities. So I got the corner, but then I also have an end. So if there's 2 rows, one would come up to the corner, and then the other one would go out to the end. Right? I don't know. But that's going to get me closer to 20 buildings. I don't know if I want any more than that, because buildings take up quite a bit of space on my shelf. Actually, they take up quite a bit of space on my shelf. But they're squares and they're row houses, so they're easy to fit together. Now, I ordered this just as a experiment, really. I'm going to use it, obviously. But these are brick walls, right? It says Gas Lamp Alley 28 millimeter. I could have swore I ordered 15 millimeter walls. I'm going to have to go back and look at my order. Because I was wondering, because I was yeah, okay, so this just answers my question. I was thinking about, when I saw that I had these walls, I was like, oh, I could take my X-Acto knife and I could cut that wall where the bricks are. I could cut some of the bricks out, and I could make my own, like, rubbled end of a wall. I could take 2 corners and make them both kind of rubbled and put them on a base with my snipers, kind of the way that Flames of War provides walls for your snipers. I was thinking I was going to be able to do that with these guys. But then I thought about it, and I was like, isn't that a little too big for a 15 millimeter figure? I said, that's like a 6-foot wall, you know? Okay, how big is it? Yeah, it's like 16 millimeters. So that's like 6-foot tall wall. Okay, was I measuring you there or was I measuring you there? Hang on. Yeah, 16 millimeters to the low part. And this is called low brick walls. Yeah, 6 feet in a 15 millimeter game. In a 28 millimeter game, they're only 16 millimeters, so they're perfect for a 28 millimeter game, which it does say Gas Lamp Alley 28 millimeter. Maybe I ordered these by accident. It's possible. I don't really play in 28 millimeter anymore. Maybe this will go up on the store if I made a mistake. Because I don't need 28 millimeter walls. I've got 100 of them. I made a bunch, and I need some 15 millimeter walls. Okay, and one more thing that I got in that, based on supplies, I said I didn't get any supplies in. Well, that's not true. I got in these glasses this Saturday, which has made a big difference on my visibility. I switch glasses out based on my where I'm focusing, right? So, like, I normally wear these glasses because it lets me focus on my monitor, which is like a good 2 feet away from me. But if I need to focus in close, I was wearing 3 times magnification glasses, and it just wasn't enough. It was just barely enough that I could, I could hold it out here and it would be fairly magnified, a good foot away from me when I'm painting. But I also had another pair of glasses, which was a 5 times magnification, and I would put those on, but then it would require me to pull the glasses or pull the miniature in so close to my face that it was uncomfortable to paint that way. So I was always painting with my 3-0s, my threes. So I said, you know what? If 3's not good enough and 5 is too good, let's go somewhere in the middle. Let's get a 4. And that's what these guys are. These guys are 4s, and it's really good. I can focus right there, which is probably about 8 or 9 inches away from my face, and that's just perfect for painting. Okay, so and I'm gonna I'll wear these for whatever. So I just finished all these. Um, these are a mixture of brands. We've got Battlefront's Flames of War. We've got some Flames of War models in here. We have a smattering of Plastic Soldier Company in here, not many. We have almost none, really. There might be a few. We have a few Old Glory models in here. There's some Old Glory poses that I really liked that I used. And then there is Forged in Battle. So Forged in Battle has some really good models as well. So, so what did I do? Well, now I already have one platoon of infantry. This right here, this little section right there is a platoon. And I already have one platoon painted. I painted it up a couple of weeks ago. But as you know, I need more and more for this Canada's Crucible and future wargame scenarios. So I have 3 more platoons, right? And I love the way that I based them. A 4, a 3, and a 3-man Bren gun team. So we've got 10 guys in a squad, 3 squads, and then there's the 2-man mortar team and a 5-man platoon headquarters. The Piat gunner, I made some Piat teams because first of all you can purchase additional Piat teams for your platoon, and the headquarters element can have an optional Piat. So I didn't want to make this a 5-figure stand with a Piat. I wanted to make it a smaller stands, which I like making my command stands smaller stands anyway. It makes them stand out. So I made the command stand, which is supposed to be 5, 3, and 2, because now if I don't want to use the Piat, I could swap it out for a 2-man figure, and I would be back to 5, but with no Piat. I do need to make a few 2-man teams just to be able to do that. At least 4, right? Okay. Well, I do have a few other models that I could swap out, like these ad hoc grenade, these ad hoc anti-tank teams. They have anti-tank grenades. So I just basically put 2 guys on a stand, and they're both throwing grenades, right? And then I've got these 2 here, which are snipers, but since they're not officially snipers, they're just a kneeling rifleman, and he's got a guy next to him that is pointing, but I'm treating this as a sniper team. I could easily just swap this out as the 2-man infantry team, right? Because that's really all it is. Okay, so there's 3 platoons there, and then I have 2. Okay, this one I already did last week. I just grabbed it because it was standing next to these guys. But I added one more carrier section. It's 9 men, 3 3-man teams, right? One of the 3-man teams has a Piat, one of them has the 2-inch mortar, and one of them has a Bren gun. And they would each be inside of a Bren gun carrier, a universal carrier. So I wanted to make them small. First of all, they're only 3 figures. I could have put them on a base like that with 3 figures, but I think that's a waste of space when it comes to basing. I think three figures on a tight base like this is more appropriate. The deployment in battle group is actually on an individual basis. It's not by stand like this. It's actually supposed to be one figure mounted individually, but they have what's called like unit cohesion, which you have. It's kind of like Warhammer, where everybody in a squad like this has to be within a certain number of millimeters or inches of each other. So you could have a chain of guys or whatever. So they can't get too far apart anyway. So I figured if I mounted them on bases like this, it's equivalent to putting the four figures side by side on the table anyway. So, and now I can just move this piece. This might be too big. That might be too much of a spread for three figures, but I wanted to make sure that it looked like a cohesive unit. There is a three-man Bren gun team, and I can't put a three-man Bren gun team prone on a base like this. I can if it's standing. So this is a three-man Bren gun team standing, but I figured that would be best for those carrier sections. I don't know, I'm going all over the place, but that's my thought process. I even considered making some of these big, some of these small, like using that for a squad, right? But it does take up less space, less real estate. You can see almost an inch, but it doesn't look right? So I made them all the same. And I like these medium-sized bases. I think it just fits. It just looks good. Three figures on a medium-sized base. Even 3 to 5, I should say. But when it comes to command elements, I wanted to put it on a small base. Just so you know, it is a command element. Or a Bren gun. Because the Bren carrier is so small and it only carries a handful of people, I thought it would be good to make those teams small, because then it would match up with the Bren carriers. Okay, so that's where those are. I got 2 carrier sections, one from last week, one from this week. 3 new platoons, so actually I've got 4 platoons fully painted. I got 2 FOs, 2 new FOs, so that brings me up to 3 FOs because I did one before. These guys have an officer binos with a radio man. 2 snipers, which is really just 2 infantry teams, right? 2-man infantry teams. I've got 6 3-inch mortars. Do I need 6? Probably, maybe. Because when you're spending points and you're buying your platoons, one platoon can add a 3-inch mortar as a support option. So I need at least 4 to supply the 4 platoons that I have, but I'm planning on doing 3 more platoons, so I'm just going to save these 6. I've got 6 loader teams. Loader teams are 3-man bases, and on my loader teams, I have additional boxes and storage. So it looks like there's like a storage dump on these. If I had jerry cans or if I had barrels or tarps, I definitely would have put them on there as well. But guess what? That German stowage box that I showed you a little bit earlier does have all those. So any future teams, loader teams, will have some of that additional stowage. I made 2 ad hoc anti-tank teams. I needed these 2 for a scenario. just one specific scenario. So any other scenario, I can just use them as regular infantry. But I basically put two guys throwing grenades. One is a plastic soldier. No, he's not. One is a Flames of War guy, and another one is Old Glory. So, because they had different poses. So, and I like a little variety. I didn't want to put the exact same two figures on the same base. I have an additional Piat team right here because as a support element for a platoon, you are able to add a Piat. So if there's ever like let's just say there's 3 platoons and they all want additional Piats, well, I can pull one from the team that I'd already finished, plus I've got this one, and then I would need to have another one because I don't have enough. Or if I had, basically I'm going to be putting together a bunch of Piat teams, specifically out of that Plastic Soldier company that it comes with. I'm going to be doing even more Piat teams. Three more to be precise. Okay. Okay, so loaders, mortars. Last thing, the formation headquarters, right? Formation headquarters is just a 3-man base. Basically, it's a guy with a radio, an officer pointing, maybe with a pistol or his binos, and then a support runner, support infantryman or whatever. But these 3-man figures, these are what's called formation headquarters, which is usually you get one of those for a battle group. But in some scenarios, like the big British one that I was talking about, it has 3. It's like a company commander. You can look at it like a company commander, a comp group, or a company. Like that one scenario has 3 distinct companies, and you'll need multiple formation headquarters. All right, so let me put these up, and I'll be right back. All right, so now this is the project that I am currently working on right now. These guys, I'd already primed them and started them a couple of weeks ago before the British, when I was doing all those German half-tracks and trucks. I started these guys, but I didn't complete them because about halfway through painting, like immediately after I started painting, I realized I had too many models on the table to paint, and it was going to take forever. So I pulled these models off to allow me to go a little bit faster with the other models. So now I'm coming back to these. And then in addition to these, I have these 20 millimeter flak guns that I've had for years. I don't even know how many years. A lot of years. These are Old Glory 3 crew 20 millimeter flak guns that I put together. I even puttied the bases, and I did a lot of work on these guys, primed them, and then put them away because we were moving or something was happening and I couldn't get back to them. But you can see they're on the old gray bases. Yeah, these are super old. But I'm going to go ahead and reprime these. I don't like the black primer on them right now, which is good, but I'm going to reprime them. Now I have 2 sets. I've got this set here and this set here. Basically, I tried to evenly space them out. One is I'm going to be using a German gray primer, and the other one I'm going to be using a desert yellow primer. So we're going to go like German gray with those 2 guns, and then like a desert yellow with these 2 guns. Now, these figures I just got in a couple of days ago, put them together and ready to go. These are field of battle. The resin ones are field of battle. Well, actually, the anti-tank gun is, or anti-aircraft gun is also field of battle. So I did a what's in the bag for these. These are 30 millimeter anti-aircraft, and I counted one German figure as part of the molded crew, the crew that's molded into the gun. But when I started assembling it and actually getting it prepared for use, I realized that there are two German figures molded into the crew, sitting side by side. They're sitting so close, their shoulders are rubbing, and you have to glue their heads on. And a 15 millimeter head is super small, and it just wouldn't grip. And it took me a long time to be able to get the heads where they need to be. But we've got two heads on the gun, so because in Battle Group it's only a 3-man crew, I added one additional figure to the base, and that saved me 3 figures that I can use for some other artillery gun crew. We got the Steyr trucks here with a bunch of crew. I even added in a couple of Old Glory guys because I have a bunch of Old Glory passengers as well. But they do come with 3 per truck. The 250 radios, I have 3 of those. I got a ambulance, I've got a wire laying half track, and I've got the 251-3s, and there's also a wire laying 250. That guy that's holding a pole straight up, that's not an antenna, that's a tool for manipulating wire, right? It's like a hook, or it's like a U-hook, to mess with wire, like put it over tree branches or whatever. Okay, so these guys are already primed, ready to go, and they've already been started painting, like their wheels and the cork on their camo. I'm not going to prime these guys any further. I'm going to just drive on with those guys, but I am going to prime these guys desert and these guys gray to get started. But right now, that's what I'm working on. Having said that, okay, I'm just putting these on here so I can move them out of the way. Having said this, I do have a commission en route. There is a customer that's wanting me to paint quite a bit of Napoleonic figures for him, and so starting Monday, I might be putting my World War II stuff off to the side, or this might be my last hurrah. Like, I'll paint these guys, and then I'll start on his Napoleonic figures immediately after, because this should only take me 1 or 2 days, 3 days maybe at the most. Yeah, so, but luckily I'm already at a pretty good position to start the Canada's Crucible. So I'm going to be putting out a notification to my friends, my local friends, but I'm going to be putting out also another video notification and asking anybody that's interested in playing the Canada's Crucible to drop me an email, so that we can get you on the Discord and into the Roll20, and so that you can see the map and the army lists and stuff like that. All right, guys. So what did we talk about? Well, we talked about what I'm working on, which is this. What I finished, which are the British infantry. We talked about supplies that I got in, which in this week was only these glasses. And then we also talked about product. And I got in Forged in Battle, Old Glory, Plastic Soldier Company, Sarissa, and some Flames War models. Alright guys, thank you for coming out and checking this out. If you want to check out my store, make sure you hit me up at this eBay address. And if you are interested in me painting any of your figures for you, make sure you hit me up at this email address so that we can get the ball rolling. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one.